Hello, everyone. Welcome to Love, Awaken, and Prosper. It has been a while since I gotten back on the screen, and I have a wonderful guest with me today, Miss CHARLY Louise, producer, director, writer, mentor. Is that correct, CHARLY? Do I have them all? Anything I'm missing?
I think so. No, I think you're good.
Awesome. So on this show today, we're talking about women in film. I have just produced my short film, look for it, called Harlem Jezebel. And I met CHARLY at an event. And we just networked together, and we that thing happened where you click, like the souls meet and you understand each other, you understand each other's language. I think that's what happened between you and I. Like, I can't believe all the things that you and I have in common.
Absolutely. It's shocking. It's synchronicity.
Synchronicity is a perfect word here. It's unbelievable. How, like, oh my goodness. Let's begin. So CHARLY, you are a film producer, and your realm, I believe you said you do a lot of documentaries. You work, is that your expertise, documentaries? Can you tell me more, a little bit about what you've done and what you're doing? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I worked on 3 feature documentaries, and I have worked on independent feature films as well. So I got a little taste of both worlds, narrative and documentary, and I think I've always gravitated towards the authenticity of documentary and the very journalistic approach to filmmaking. Yeah, so I was an executive producer, writer, and director for In Tune, the Ben Tucker story, which is released on PBS. It was centered around a jazz musician named Ben Tucker who passed away, and it was a tribute to his legacy.
Strangers to Ben.
Ben was a man for all time.
The original Dos Equis man, the coolest man in the world.
Ben Tucker, the baddest bass player in town.
Ben put the 2 O's in cool, man. He was like a cat, just
people from all aspects. White, black, rich, poor, rabble-rousers, do-gooders.
It didn't matter if you shined shoes or you were president. He treated you with that kind of...
Around town here, he was just a maestro at people skills.
I came from heaven. Nah, I was kidding.
First thing you do is you go Google him, and then you find out, he has played with the greats. He knows and has played with everybody who's important in the jazz field.
And he was a Georgia-based jazz musician who really helped to bridge race relations in Savannah, Georgia. He was one of the first African-American men in the 70s to own a radio station, and through music and philanthropy, and really just being who he was, like paying it forward in the personality that he was, he helped to really bridge all different types of people. And so the film is a music-centered documentary about his life and legacy.
But what made you just want to focus on that first?
Yeah, I guess for me, the journey of film is really deeply rooted. I studied acting as a child and more formally in high school. I did acting, modeling. I was always a photographer, and I went to the theaters every weekend of my entire childhood. Just that was my thing. And I knew film was a big calling in my life, and I've always considered myself a truth teller. And so I think where my love of documentary came in was around the authenticity and the vulnerability that occurs when you're talking about real life stories. I love narrative too, and I certainly have an appreciation for both. I think there was just something that really sparked for me when I left film school for a little bit, and I went to the Cannes Film Festival in France, and I saw a bunch of documentaries, and it was quite an experimental fusion of narrative and doc, but the stories hit me so deeply that I just had this urge to like explore what it would be like to pick up a camera and talk to people and get their authentic stories and develop that craft a little deeper.
What documentary did you watch that you said, this is the one that this is what I want to do? Can you remember?
I don't remember the name, but I remember the story, which was essentially like Captain Phillip, but it was a documentary. So it was like that film, like Captain Phillip, where you're looking at Somalia and looking at like the cargo ships that come in, and in this case, that was a narrative film, but they took a documentary approach to a very similar topic. And for me, it was so vulnerable and real to like witness what was happening with people in that part of the world, and like the challenge and struggle that people were going through just to survive. And when I found out the director was from Cleveland, Ohio, and I was just so lit up about, like, I was really empowered to know that this person had their film in one of the best film festivals in the world, Cannes Film Festival. And I just knew I could do some similar work, and that there's power to storytelling in this really, really vulnerable way.
Yes. Cannes is like on my bucket list. It's like the bigger picture is like I want one of my films to be hopefully more than one, but at least one to make it to the Cannes Film Festival. Like, isn't that like, as a filmmaker, like, oh, you made it, like, yay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Talk about Cannes. How is Cannes?
It was really eye-opening. I was probably like 22. I was pretty young. So this was a long time ago, but for me, it was extremely eye-opening because I was following the independent track, but the school I was going to, Savannah College of Art and Design, really geared the film program to be Hollywood, big studio vibe, Marvel, Pixar. They wanted you to go really big and learn that track. And I was like, that's not the stories I want to tell. So I left school and I was like, I'm done with this, because I wasn't necessarily experiencing the education that I desired around independent filmmaking. And I had, immediately after I left, I had an opportunity to go to France and to attend the producers workshop, which is like a week-long, I think it's like a grand or something. It's an investment along with getting there. But I had an opportunity to attend it. And it was so life-changing. Like, you were sitting next to people who are like directors, like executive producers at Lionsgate and like these really big studios. And then you're also with people from Australia and Germany and just all these places around the world that are filmmakers at a top level. And so it was, and I was young, I probably worked on a few film sets. I made plenty of short films, but I wasn't like fully immersed. Like, I was like such a baby in that world of filmmaking.
Every time I go to film festivals, I always come out, of course, you come out with just more knowledge, you come out knowing more people, but it gives you that little like zap to, I'm getting this done. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm doing this. Yes. And I think that's a great segue to talk about what you're working on right now, because I know that you're creating a mentorship program for people for filmmakers or creatives. It's called Captivate Film Mentorship program, correct?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And tell me, what does that involve? What is it that you're creating?
The idea for it was definitely in incubation for a long time. Around that journey, I was saying, when I left college and I went to the festival and I went to other festivals and I just started working in the industry, I was really craving support in this intimate mentorship way. I didn't understand why there wasn't more apprenticeships and mentorships in our higher education model. And so a lot of the idea is really coming from a place of like, what would I have wanted as an aspiring filmmaker like 10 years ago? What kind of support would I have needed? What kind of guidance and resources and education would have supported me to, push my boundaries, to get my stories out there in a way that translates to a large audience. So focusing on the director-editor relationship, because a lot of people get stopped in post-production. They do well in pre-production, they get it filmed, and then they're kind of stuck not knowing how to continue with post-production or who to hire or what support to bring in. So we have professional, expert filmmakers alongside our core group of mentors, such as Tyler Walk, who is an editor for Michael Moore's documentaries. He'll be a part of the program where he teaches about the director-editor relationship, and he helps give more tips and technique around editing. And so the program is really designed to help you step by step through pre-production to post-production with the community support, with the accountability, with the resources that you need to really thrive in film, whether it's you want to be a writer director or you want to get paid to do content creation as a videographer, or you want to just learn the basics of being a producer because you have a lot of stories to tell.
Wow. I guess you're creating, when I'm listening to you, it's like, a master. Oh my goodness, what is it? You know that little phrase where people says,
a jack of all trades and a master of one?
Yes, that. But what I do see for me when I did, I just filmed my short film, is wanting to make sure that everybody was on point doing their part. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any power. I guess I also have, I'm one of those people who like to be in control. And it felt good to release control, let them handle it. But I did have that desire in me, like, are they doing the sound right? Are they doing this right? Right. My DP was an amazing Jose Rossi. He was really amazing at helping the people who are there do it right. Like, okay, make sure you hold the boom away from the shot. Like, you should, you check the sound. So he was like training people because people, I had a lot of volunteers and people who were, have done it before. But I saw that he was also teaching, so Beautiful. It was pretty great. But I wanted to really know, like, I know as a director, my focus was really the actors and getting the scene the way I wanted to look like. But at the same time, so much equipment is around, so much. The sound is on the, it's all over the place.
Yeah. There's a lot happening on set. And I think even if you go to school, it doesn't really prepare you to especially as a director, to be grounded and to where is your focus? Because so much is happening, and directors especially set the tone for how the set will go. So if the director is anxious, the crew is anxious. If the director can keep composure, then the crew's like, okay, we're good, But I think what you're speaking to, and I just looked up the quote, by the way, because I think I said it wrong, but it was, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
It is. I know. I love that phrase. I that's what I've heard, that full phrase. And and it's, yes, it's better to have a lot or know a lot of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And know nothing, only know one thing. And anyway, that's actually really an amazing thing that you're creating.
Thank you.
And that you could do this in 3 months. That's also expose people. Obviously it's not free, and for people to find out any information, they could go on your website, which of course I'm going to post, right here.
Yeah.
But go ahead, tell me more about your team.
Yeah, so I feel so blessed to see how it all came together. We have just an incredible array of filmmakers who, like me, are in both documentary and narrative, like have experience in both worlds. One of the other mentors, Nova Scott James, she's also from Harlem. She's New York based. And she just finished her first feature narrative film, but it's narrative documentary. It's an experimental kind of fusion, and I supported her doing some cinematography in May of last year. And so I really felt connected with her. I've known her for a few years, and I've been wanting to weave with her somehow. And she coaches filmmakers and artists as well. And so her recent film just got picked up, the producer just got picked up with Sundance. And so they are mentoring her producer, and therefore she as well gets some of the mentorship from the Sundance Institute. She's incredible at fundraising as well. She's raised over $500,000 for her film and other films this last year. Just like a budding superstar there. And one of the other ones, that's a local guy that I met who goes by Waska. He has been, I don't know, doing 20 or 30 years as a cinematographer in New York City. And he happened to move where I live right now in Asheville, North Carolina. It's so random that we met. It's just another beautiful synchronicity to connect with this incredible cinematographer. He most recently worked on the film Don't Look Up with Leonardo DiCaprio. He was one of the cinematographers on that film. Most recently, I met with another filmmaker, Carolyn Aylward is her last name, and she also went to SCAD a few years before me. And we just connected, and it was another like soul sister depth connection of just like, wow, we're both really passionate about documentary and storytelling. And she has a beautiful short film called In Her Body, I believe, or In This Body, that is out in the world and went to film festivals. And she does mentorship mostly with like these influencers and big brands, and she does a lot of like brand documentary fusions. So she's really covering a lot of like documentary marketing. She does podcasts. She's just like a powerhouse producer director.
Wow.
And then finally we have another female. So we have 4 women and 1 guy. The other woman that I'm super stoked about is Melissa Troutman, and wow, just such a powerhouse as well, an investigative journalist. She's worked on documentaries with Mark Ruffalo that are award-winning. The most recent is called The Invisible Hand. And so, yeah, so those are the few of the mentors, deep roots in film and dedicated to storytelling and mentorship,
You could get somewhere alone, but with others you get there faster. You've seen that quote, another quote that I can't quote correctly.
That's great. I love it.
But you could get to places by yourself, but when you're with others you get there faster. And it's because the combined knowledge of so many, when you receive a mentor, is there to show you what you're missing, or just add the little missing pieces, basically. And so I feel like how, us meeting, the synchronicity of, what we've experienced in our lives, and how that we're 2 women who work on their selves, on their spirits, on their self-development, on communicating, on evolving. And not only that, to pay it forward, to give it back. And this is your giving back. And that's for me in my, because I also do workshops called Right to Live, like Right to Live goal setting workshops. And I love that you also mentioned that you have this, you know, the, I don't know if you mentioned it here, but definitely to me in other conversations where some of the mentors are also working on people's, like, you know, their mind and spirit and all of that, because it's all, you need all of that to create. Some people may not be too tapped into their spirituality or even their own self-awareness of what kind of person they are, and, you know, they can, or maybe they don't have the words to explain who they are. You're going to be using self-development work within this program that you're doing. And is it something that you all got together and said, this is what we're going to teach, or each individual has their own method? How was that communicated with you guys?
Yeah, great question. I think with us as a team, and primarily the main mentors are women. And I think the reason that we are all called to be coaches and mentors is because we have this aligned goal, this aligned vision of supporting with the mind, body, spirit. As women in the film industry, I think we've all experienced different versions of this super hyper masculine, productivity forward way of life in film and in the world in general too. And so I think for us, we as a team, we all agree that self-development, transformational work, you know, spiritual exploration are all really important facets of being a creative, and especially being a filmmaker, being able to tune into your intuition, being able to know yourself so well that you can see how to build a team, being able to communicate your vision. All of this takes a lot of inner work. And I think all three of us, Nova, myself, and Caroline, all three of us are really dedicated to supporting people. I think the cat just got in.
That was scary.
Yeah, it was a little ghosty, huh? Hi, Fox. Yeah, so all three of us are really dedicated to supporting not just on the like technique level of filmmaking, but also on that inner work that you need to do. Like I was saying, creative blockages are a huge deal. Like if you can't ask for the money, or if you can't pitch your film to a team, to a DP, to an executive producer, well, you're not going to be able to be the director you want to be, or get your scripts to the eyes of the right people to be produced. So there's a lot of inner work, I think, that has helped me along my journey. Nova and I also have similar background with Landmark as well. And so we have a shared vision there. And then Caroline, the three of us are very, spirit-led, and like, you know, we tune into our intuition, and we know the processes of film, and we want to help support with self-care practices so people don't get burnt out on film sets when you're working 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah, 18 hours a day.
18 hours a day.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Very, very true. Tell me, can you share a little bit about some of the self-care practices that you guys are going to cover?
Yeah, I mean, I think that each one of us definitely will take it a little different routes. Some of them are like journaling practices. Some of them are like visualizations and meditations. For me, I've been working a lot around moving blockages around money. Mm-hmm. And to me, like, that's really tied in with us as artists and creators, is like, you know, if you can't fund your project, mm-hmm. where are we at? And you have this beautiful vision, but it won't get out to the world. So I won't get like super in detailed about what the practices are, but I would just say on like an encompassing level, some of it is self-inquiry, where we're like, we give you some direction and say, hey, tune in with this, and come back and we'll support you in exploring that more. Some of it's actually practices, like daily practices you can do throughout your week.
Yes. And I think by exposing people to all the things that you're going to expose them with, as far as filmmaking is concerned, they will know, oh, this is what I want to do, or I don't think this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but it will be a wake-up call, because there are certain things that I don't want to wake up to. Like your regular job, your regular 9 to 5 is like, oh. But you know what? When I shot my short, like I slept 4 hours and I had to shoot again the following day, and I was so tired. But I got up with I'm doing this. And it's a different kind of force that pushes you to the limit, and you realize how strong you are, how much you could work on, how much sleep you can work on. So much, right? But because you're pursuing your passion. And in pursuing our passions, we get to realize, what type of person do I want to be to fulfill my dreams?
There is just so much enthusiasm about film mentorship. And I could see this. Our intention is to grow it into a nonprofit in the next year or two. So we can have even more accessible resources for people worldwide to take it at different paid levels, or potentially just have a lot of scholarships, right? So to me, the whole purpose is that every person has some story deep within them that they, are capable of telling, and film, as one of the most powerful, most influential mediums on the planet to share your stories. Like, what a combination to have, the skill set to share your story through film, and the support through a community of filmmakers to be able to really get it out there in the most powerful way. So our hope is to create a nonprofit to bridge filmmakers with aspiring storytellers and filmmakers of all different creative backgrounds, and give them the tools and eventually the equipment, and bring it out to the world so that there's more authentic, powerful stories being created.
Our own little Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, is like not going through, I think that's what's so interesting about independent film, is like nowadays with YouTube, anybody can share their story. It doesn't mean that everybody's got like a well-crafted story, but they're able to share it. They're able to put it out there. And so we just want to help them refine the process a little bit and give them the tips, techniques, the confidence, the support, the community.
I think you already shared in your awakening, I guess, the awakening part, as far as awakening people to their potential of becoming filmmakers. But you could, if you want to add something else, you can. But let's talk about love. And so for me, when I say love, awaken, and prosper, it's everything that is life, right? And so to me, love, like, how do we handle our passion and our love life? Because, our passion is something that we love, then that's self-love, right? You're living. And then do you have time, and have you experienced having a balance with, your personal life and your creative life?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love this topic of purpose, love, awaken, prosper. To me, it's like everything I stand for, which is, focusing on your passion, getting excited about sharing your purpose with the world. And that's what I hear with love, awaken, and prosper, and thriving in it. It's like, we don't need to be this starving artist model. Like, we can be, it's not about being like this rich, corporation thing either. It's like finding that balance, like you said, like thriving
But but that's not bad.
Right. It's not, I mean,
It's
no,
also,
it's
to me,
not.
it's not even, I'm not,
It's what you do with it. It's like you're,
what you
if you're in your service, if you're in your dharma, your purpose, and you're lit up, like, that's to me what matters. And thriving, just that part of it is like, I want to see filmmakers thrive. And that's part of why I'm doing the mentorship is like, I don't, I've definitely been all the routes, been homeless, living in my car to now owning a house. Like, we go through the steps in the journey, and I would much rather be able to tell stories and live my passion and purpose from a place of thriving and prosperity than like trying to do that, like eating McDonald's or something, right? Like it's hard to get that creative juice while you're working a 9 to 5 or while you're doing the 20 different jobs to be able to make your film or whatever your passion is. So just wanted to touch on that because I just love this subject matter in general. Like, and then, finding the balance. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that I actually got that from Landmark. I like your I am affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I am love, I am awakened, I am express, And so I'm like, hey, and eventually it became this show. But thank you. But love, it was really hard for me. I am recently divorced, a year now, and it was really hard to manage family and my dream. As a woman, when we talk about women in film, the many hats that we have to wear, and the sacrifices that we have to make, especially if we have children, if we are married, and needing to be away from home for maybe a while. But I feel like in the end it's worth it, and I think, if anything, how sad would you be and your children would be if you never lived your purpose?
Absolutely.
How would I be of service to them if I'm not who I am?
I think it's what you're speaking to me. I feel like it's about role modeling I don't have children yet, but I feel like it would be about role modeling to my children or to others that ability to not sacrifice yourself for love, but to live and love and learn in a way that honors who you are, whatever you bring to the table, whatever your passion is, whatever you're pursuing, while integrating and honoring that whole realm of your personal life, whether it's family and kids, or whether it's like maybe you're a carpenter on the side. Like, I don't know what your other side pursuits are, but to me, it's about bringing it into balance and finding the flow. So I've definitely done the extreme where I've like let go of film and like dedicated myself, jumped on board on a relationship that wasn't honoring my career and my love, and then had to rein it back and be like, I'm sacrificing too much. And so I think for me, I found a good balance, and it's always a place of growth. Like, I don't know,
True. You definitely growth.
Like, you're learning and you're learning more about yourself. And so I'm definitely on that journey of like staying curious with love. I feel really supported by my current partner and like really encouraged. And also, like, there's areas where I'm not going to receive the validation from him that I'm maybe craving. And so that's where community comes in. We can't put it all on our partners or our husbands, our family to validate the work that we're doing in the world. And in fact, like, I don't think we can work from that model at all. We need that inner validation first. But when you have, I'd say, like, when you have support other than just one person, right? Whether it's your mom, your dad, your siblings, your sons and daughters, your lover, like your partner, your husband, outside of that, having support, because that's like your intimate, core family, your intimate partners, your intimate relationships. But we need people beyond that,
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Somebody that supports you is really important, I think, in anything you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And that,
agree.
yeah. So in the awakening, I think this whole conversation was all about awakening.
Yeah.
Process of mentorship and how to evolve and as far as prosperity, I feel that it's also in if you are doing what you love, you're there. You're already prosperous because so many people don't. So many people don't have the courage to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this exercise. If what will people say about your work when you're gone?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think my hope is that people will experience the interconnection of humanity, the compassion of our hearts, the sensitivity, the vulnerability of being human in this planet, and the I guess the ability to share truth in a way that is unparalleled, where it's raw, it's vulnerable, it's compassionate, it's held in a tender, loving way, but it's like, that people will say, I wasn't afraid to go there and to be big with my visions and to share stories that haven't been told before.
Wow. That's awesome, Charlie. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
So beautiful. That touched me right now. Like it touched my heart. And leaving with that, thank you so much, Charlie Louise, for spending some time with me here at Love, Awaken, and Prosper. I really do I love this conversation. I could have it for days and days. This is like my best topic to talk about, creating, being creative. And just evolving and helping others. That's the other one, like helping others. So big with the work that I also want to do in this world. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching Love, Awaken, and Prosper. Please, I'll definitely have Charlie Louise information right here. And everyone, God bless you. I love you. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Sergia. Enjoy your day.